Have you done the intro?
About you? Yeah.
Excited.
I wonder if you'll be offended.
Well, you probably would be offended too. I think we should start trying to really roast each
That's
other.
a great idea. Fantastic. I think I've hit the
Have you
ground
nailed
running.
it? Have you nailed the brief? Good to know. Right.
Go.
Can't wait. Okay, cool, babe. I think that's about it. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
We're not going to be back in time for school pickup when we record the podcast on Tuesday. So I just wondered what your childcare sitch was.
Well, like most people, I think it's a largely unreliable setup, genuinely just cobbled together between myself, Johnny, after school club. And do you remember that random woman I found on Facebook? She seems really nice. So yeah, probably her. What about you?
Oh, we've got a Koru Kids after school nanny.
You got a Koru what?
A Koru Kids after school nanny. Twice a week, she picks the girls up from school, brings them home, feeds them, does their homework, and they're ready for bed by the time Jimmy and I get home. So we actually all like each other by the time it gets to bedtime.
Hey, you're sounding a little bit smug there, Kat.
Listen, I'm not a little bit smug. I'm very smug about it.
Yeah, well, not all of us have got the old influencer cash, you know?
Actually, it's really reasonable because it's part-time. You just pay for the hours you need. It gives me some easier days, not always rushing around, and the girls love it.
All right, give me the deets.
Head to korukids.co.uk to learn more and use the code YNTOO for a free 3-hour nanny trial.
Hello and welcome to You're Never the Only One. My name is Emma and today I'm here with Kat, my neurospicy soap-dodging co-host. Oh, I feel really bad saying this.
No, it's go.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
all
let's
right.
roast.
I mean, okay, let's go. So yeah, Kat is my neurospicy soap-dodging co-host who, despite being 3 years sober, is more likely to pick up a bottle of wine than a bottle of shower gel.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. Oh, that's the best intro I've ever had. She's a
I'm Emma.
dirty
This is Kat.
skank. I am Kat, indeed, and I'm delighted to welcome by my side Emma Nicolet, the purple-haired positive powerhouse, who showers twice a day.
I do.
Yes, listeners, that's right, twice a day. She's a fake tan connoisseur
I'm getting there.
and has such perfect natural teeth that Turkey calls regularly to ask for them back.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good. Can we have a little ching?
She does have great
One of
teeth.
those ones.
You do have great
The
teeth.
bottom ones are getting a bit dodge. I'm looking for an Invisalign ad.
Invisalign, if you are watching.
Sponsorship would be great.
Let's get on with the episode.
All right, okay. All right, Kat, this is the part where we talk about basically our to-do list, so what we've got coming up or what we've been doing.
Got it.
I feel like I've come in like a wrecking ball today. I've just left my family at the money pit, otherwise known as Centre Parks.
You know what? We need to do a whole episode on Centre Parks.
Oh my God.
I hate Centre Parks.
Oh my God. I've been really nervous about talking about this.
Oh, I hate Centre Parks. Continue.
I've just left. It's crazy. First of all, I will give it this. It is a slick operation. You arrive, they're perky. I think to myself, my God, I've just seen another 100 cars in front of me, 100 cars behind. You've got your padder down. It's great. You go in there, you get the key, the band, you turn up at the lodge. It's got everything you could possibly need for a
most
family.
financial cons are quite slick.
I know. Well, you say that. No shampoo, no conditioner, no shower gel, nothing in there. They get you on all those things. Tin foil, make sure you take that sugar. I was prepped.
This wasn't your first rodeo.
It was my first time going to Centre Parks.
No.
Yes, first time ever.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay, you popped your Centre Parks cherry.
I did. One thing I would say is we got the bikes. It was all really easy. Staff were all
Bikes
really
aren't
nice.
free though, are they?
But nothing's free
Nothing's
at Centre Parks.
free at Centre Parks.
Nothing is free.
Also, the hub, that's what they call it, isn't it?
Is that the
The
cycle
big
hub?
area. No, the big area where there's
You've got the
different restaurants
plaza,
and
you've got the
things.
village.
Yeah. Just always reminds me of an airport terminal.
It's exactly the weather. It's like a Weatherspoons at an airport.
Yeah, it's like a Weatherspoons.
Yes.
But there's a screen on the wall that's about the size of a small football pitch.
Yes.
And it's always got sport on.
Yes. Yes. It is. It's like being at Gatwick Airport.
Heathrow Airport terminal.
Neither of us could say airport then. Did you
No,
notice
no.
that? Should we try it again?
Heathrow Airport terminal.
Gatwick Airport. Yeah.
2, not 5.
No.
That would be great. 2. Anyway, so you just got back from Centre Park.
It was crazy. Way more cardio than I like to do on a family break. Kat, I'll be honest with you.
Spotted everywhere.
Honestly, and I did a lot of that. I did a lot of snorting over the weekend. Not that kind.
Not that kind of
There was a lot of outward snorting of kind of like, how much?
Yeah.
What? I paid.
Did you do horse riding?
No, I
No,
fucking didn't.
nobody can afford to horse ride.
Mate,
at
I'm
Centre Park.
not being funny. My friend who had been before, I made a meme of her. She went, I paid £100 for an owl experience. And there's this picture of her, and her face, her eyes are dying. Like her eyes.
The soul has left her body.
It's left her body, and the owl is there, like on her arm. She's holding it, and the owl, it looks like it's laughing, going, "You fucking mug. You paid £100 for this."
Centre Park saw her come.
Owl. Owl. I was like,
How
no
long
way.
did she hold the owl for? About 3.5 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, there was probably a lot of training, involved. That's what she paid for. That's what I felt like with my massage. I went for a massage. I paid what was it? It was something like £65 for a massage that lasted 20 minutes. 10 of that was me getting there, filling out a form, all this
Take your
shit.
kit off.
She was going to me, I'm just going to step out the room. I went, don't. I went, stay exactly where you are. I'm literally undressing in front of her. I went, don't leave. I have like 20 minutes for you to, relax my shoulders.
I didn't make it. To be fair, I've only been once. I swore I'd never go again. And when I went, I never made it into the spa. It was never going to happen.
I heard the spa was amazing, but I just looked and I thought, you get a 3-hour session and it was something like 100 and I thought, I can't. For how much it's cost me already just to, get the family in here. I can't.
I mean, for what it
can't.
costs you for a holiday weekend, which is like Friday to Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could almost certainly go on a jolly all-inclusive to Spain for a week.
You could.
Yeah.
You could. I was just constantly shelling out. And you may notice my hair's a slightly different colour from last week. And that's because I went in the pool.
Oh.
The pool. Can
It's
we call
like-
it the pool? I don't
No.
know. The
It's like
subtropic.
50% chlorine, 40% wee, and 10% water.
It stripped all the colour from my hair because it's so highly chlorinated. Because obviously to deal with the numerous kind of diseases and parasites and foot fungus, which is clearly in there.
And all the kids weeing.
And mate, honestly.
And the adults. There's only 2 types of people in the world,
It's like a
People
public
who wee in the
pool.
pool and liars.
It's going down the rapid, you're like, who's doing it?
Everybody's
Who's
weeing.
doing it?
Everybody's weeing. I will not hear it from anybody.
Oh my
I never
God.
wee in a pool. You are a liar. Dirty liar.
I have weed in the pool before.
Yeah, of course you have.
But
Everybody has.
I didn't want to wee.
I'm so grateful that you.
Can I just say, it felt too dirty to wee in. I've never been in a pool, and I thought, I can't wee in this one. It was awful, and
I can't wait to hear how Johnny felt about Centre Parks.
yeah, I'm sure he'll tell you when he recovers from his ear infection that he probably caught in the pool. Everybody got ill. Everybody was getting ill, and it's anyway.
So what's the verdict? Would you go back?
No, I don't think I would actually. The kids loved it. The kids
Yeah, but the
absolutely
kids
loved
didn't
it.
pay for it.
No, the kids didn't pay for it, and
The kids
I think
would love anything.
and I did it for them, but I've lost the exuberance of youth has left my body a long time ago, and my patience levels are not there. They got smaller with each offspring, and I think that I don't do queues, and there's a lot of queuing, and I just actually were like, I was ready. I was ready.
It wasn't
to
a
come
holiday.
home. It didn't feel like a holiday.
It's not a holiday.
But I did enjoy going out on a bike, and Johnny was doing these like weird skiddy things, and 15-year-old me was very juicy.
Fizzy knickers.
Oh,
You knew I was going to say that, didn't you?
No. But yes.
Yeah. Anything else you've got going on this week, or is that the?
It's just
summer
half
social?
term, isn't it? It's half term, and I'm going to try and spend as little money as possible.
Well, you're off to a great start at Centre Parks. Shall I tell you what I've been dealing with this week?
Yeah.
The perimenopause. It's just not all right. I've been a little bit on the fence as to whether I'm dealing with the perimenopause, because I'm like, am I actually going through it? Because I'm 43, or am I just on the internet too much? And I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably been a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. But this week, if I was ever in any doubt, there is no doubt in my mind now that I am diving headlong into the perimenopause.
What's the symptom that's
Well,
like making
for a
that
while,
feel?
I've been having quite serious anxiety during my period, which has never really been there before, where I don't really want to leave the house.
Okay.
In fact, I don't really want to get out of bed. Like, I just want to hibernate in a ball. which is unusual. And over the last few months, I've called Jimmy from being in town. I'm like, I don't feel good. Like, I really just want to get home. And then I've realised it's my period. And I'm like, oh, it always coincides with that. So that was one thing. But then I thought maybe I'm just, maybe my anxiety's ramping up.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know for sure it was about the perimenopause.
Yeah.
Then this week, the vertigo kicked in.
Is that a symptom?
Well, it could be, it couldn't. This is the thing with perimenopause. There's so many symptoms.
Yeah, but that's a bit random, isn't it?
This is it. I've never in my life had vertigo before.
What does that feel like, vertigo? Just explain it to me. Is it like literally how you feel when you stand on top of a tall building and look down?
No, well, I'm not scared of heights, so I don't think I get that weirdness there. But for me, I got it started on the way home from school pickup on Friday. I was driving, and it just all felt a bit like, whoa. The world sort of tilted a bit, and I was like, that's weird. And then when I got home, the world was spinning. You know when you're dizzy and you spin round and round and round and round and round?
Yeah.
And then you stop and that's what it's like.
Cat.
That's exactly what it's like.
Oh.
And then I'd sort of sit down, lie down, and once I was lying down, I'd sort of be all right.
Yeah.
And then I got up again and I was like, whoa. But it only lasted for 12 hours. So it wasn't vertigo. It wasn't like labyrinthitis. It wasn't an ear infection. It's not anything wrong with crystals or whatever it is. Really, you have crystals in your ear.
Hold on.
Yeah, sometimes you can get vertigo because there's some weird...
a build-up of crystals.
No, like they're in the wrong place or something.
I
not
thought
like
you meant like...
rose quartz in your fucking ears.
I thought it was...
Jesus, wet. Oh, God. Anyway, it wasn't that.
Okay.
And so vertigo is now part of my symptoms, and it's a bit discombobulated. It's also a bit sad. I was like, okay, I thought maybe I could avoid the perimenopause for a little bit longer, but no, I'm there.
You're in.
I am.
You're fully in.
But the two other things I want to talk to you about very briefly. Firstly is I've been showering a lot more.
Have I shamed you into showering?
You've shamed me into showering.
Shit.
One day I had a shower in the morning and a bath in the evening.
What? That's a lot even for me.
Oh God, here we go.
A bath.
Well,
wow.
and then I showered one night, put my fake tan on.
Yeah.
And then obviously had to shower in the morning. I have to say, I've showered every morning.
That doesn't count, Kat. Not washing off your fake tan.
Well, I'm washing other things as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it counts.
Okay.
But I have to say, showering in the morning, it's been quite motivating.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here.
I don't love it.
Right.
I do still really struggle. But I have to say what's helped is I haven't washed my hair every time.
Yes.
So literally it has been in and out 5 minutes.
Okay.
I hate getting out my clothes. I hate the coldness.
Yeah.
I hate...
Little things.
I
like
also think...
a warm towel on the radiator. A lovely shower cap.
I know I'm lucky if I remember to bring a towel into the bathroom.
What?
I know, I'm terrible. I realised that this plays into a little bit about what you're going to be talking about later, which is I also think I don't love getting into the shower because I sort of have to look down at my body, which I'm not 100% comfortable with at the moment.
Really?
So I think there's an element of that. Anyway, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm watching Rivals.
What is that?
The Jilly Cooper book. It's a new remake on Disney. Ooh. It's got David Tennant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Isn't it quite sexy though?
No, it's not sexy. It's raunchy.
Raunchy, but I don't
like
put David Tennant.
A romp.
I don't. David Tennant and raunchy, sexy.
It has brought back all of that 80s raunchy joy. You know, like that kind of sex that isn't sexy. It's like just fun. It's a romp with horses and TV and Rupert Campbell Black. And it has made my week. My period came yesterday, the day before, I can't remember. And I've barely even thought about it because all I've done is watch Rivals. It's brought me so much joy. I've forgotten about the fact that my body is shutting down on me.
Oh my God, I have to watch this.
It's so good. It's on Disney. You've got to watch it.
Is this like kind of like when you were a teenager and you read Judy Blume?
Yes.
That kind of excitement.
I never read Judy Blume. I went straight to Virginia Andrews, Flowers in the Attic.
Wow.
Where the brother and sister were shagging.
I was too scared. I heard about that and I thought, I don't want that in my head.
Read all of them at 10.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then
10?
Yeah. And then moved on to Jilly Cooper. And I'm reading her newest one, Tackle, at the moment.
Tackle?
Tackle.
That's amazing.
It's about football world.
Oh!
I mean, the double entendre is intentional. Yeah. Okay, now is the point in this podcast where we make the title of this podcast make sense. So this is the You're Never the Only One Who part. And it's kind of the beating heart of our podcast, if you like. It's why we're here. And each week we bring a topic that's personal to us, that we want to talk about because we've battled with it or we've thought about it. And we know that other people are dealing with it as well. So we want to talk about it and shine a light on the kind of those little things in life.
Yeah.
Just so that we can go, this is how we're feeling about this topic.
Yeah.
Feelings.
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 Feeling.
I feel good.
I feel good.
I do that. Okay.
Okay, so shall I just go in?
Yeah. Like,
It's going to upset some people. In fact, actually, I feel like it needs a trigger warning.
should we get Jimmy to do a jingle?
Please.
Trigger warning.
Thanks, Jimmy. That was amazing. So what I said last week that I wanted to cover was you are never the only one who doesn't love their body. And it can be triggering. And so this is your warning, okay? I want to talk about the body positivity movement. I just want to talk about it, around it. And before we go any further, let's start with the premise, as we said last week, that all bodies are beautiful and they should all be celebrated. You don't want to make eye contact with me. Are you nervous?
I do. I'm not nervous.
And I 100% believe that we should be challenging society's harmful beauty standards. I do think they are. And actually, I believe that even more so now having 2 daughters. But the reality is that I believe we're still living in a world that celebrates skinny. I do. That's why
You feel that pressure. I feel that pressure.
I feel they still celebrate slim. And I think that a lot of that is to do with my age and the generation that I grew up in. And listen, anybody that came out the other side of the late 90s, early noughties without any issues around their body, congratulations. Well done.
You are a unicorn.
Well done you, because, us millennial women, we were bombarded with this like fat phobic culture, essentially. Would you agree?
100%.
Yeah, I'm talking about is the stuff like the magazine articles and, the front covers that were vilifying like fat rolls, cellulite, sagging older skin. And it's
Chris Evans weighing Victoria Beckham on his
God.
radio show maybe 4 weeks after she'd had a baby to see if she was back to her original weight.
Yeah. And this was also coincided with this whole thin
Heroin chic as well.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember kind of the lollipop kids, the ones with
Kate Moss.
Yeah, I mean, Kate Moss's famous saying, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, which she doesn't regret. She just said it was something that growing up as a young model in a model flat, that's what they used to say.
I know. And when people say, do you regret saying that? It's like, well, obviously I wouldn't say that now, but it was of the moment and it was true to her.
Yeah, it was a kind of little jingle they had when one of them reached for the biscuits. They'd go, hey, girl, remember?
Jimmy tried doing that to me yesterday when I asked him to buy me a packet of chocolate hobnobs.
Yeah.
And he said, are you sure that's what you want? No, only because I'd asked him to kind of
this
like
is not the time
help
of the
me.
month to be...
No.
No.
And I said that, I'm sure. Then I ate them and I felt really, really sick and really like horrible
did
about
mint
myself.
tea?
I didn't this time. Normally I do.
Just ate them dry.
Yeah, neat.
Are you serious?
Well, this time, most times I do dip
Because
them
the
in tea.
hobnob's quite a, claggy biscuit.
Claggy, salty biscuit.
Yes.
Listen, I'm quite used to claggy, salty. Anyway, so I ate them all and felt awful.
Yeah.
Sick and mentally not great.
Yeah.
And then I blamed Jimmy for letting me eat all the biscuits. Only joking though, not really. But yeah, so
the body positivity movement.
yeah, let's get to it.
Let's go back to the origins of it, because I think that's quite important, actually.
Okay.
And I looked into it a little bit. The body positivity movement had its origins way before the late 90s, noughties situation. And in the larger context, it was a social movement advocating the acceptance of all bodies, their size, their shape, skin tone, gender, and physical ability. That's what body positivity was about. Message being to love ourselves and not place kind of our value shouldn't be determined by, as I say, kind of societal.
When was the origins of this movement you're talking
This was in the 90s.
about? Okay, in the 90s.
Okay. Now, it was around the late 90s and the early noughties that a feminist group that were called the Fat Underground, who basically wanted equal rights for fat people. They made a huge impact because of their support of this movement. So then it very much became about fat acceptance, which, kind of left behind the kind of conversations around people of colour, people living with disabilities, and I'm
ignored sort of the intersectionality.
Yeah,
of it
exactly. That the LGBTQIA+ community.
I mean, a lot of movements up until very recently, and even now, most movements are sort of steeped in white privilege, aren't they? And this was probably one of those.
Fair point. But I'm looking now and I'm going 2 decades later. Look at this now. It's I've been over 20 years. I'm wondering how much has really changed. Like, how much has it really impacted on us? And how much of it is kind of performative? Because there are, like, I can't remember exactly what it was I read, but it was something ridiculous, like over 80 billion like hashtags around body positivity on TikTok.
It's a lot of hashtags.
A lot of hashtags. However, you know, you look at recent, I think it was last week, there's information leaked, documents from TikTok basically saying that they use AI to demote people they deem as unattractive on TikTok.
No wonder I'm not doing very well on TikTok. I need to make a bit more of an effort. Stop eating the hobnobs.
Stop eating the hobnobs, and then
I'll be viral.
Baby, you'll be fine. Oh, she'll be all over your For You page. And then you look at the Ozempic. Like, it's crazy, this. Like, it's now so popular. So if you don't know what this is, it's basically diabetes medicine, which turns out went viral due to the fact that it speeds up weight loss. It's rapid in the way that
and it's been used now off-label as a weight loss drug.
Yes.
For people who might not have diabetes but may benefit from weight loss. And now, of course, all the Real Housewives are taking it. All the rich people are taking it.
Yes.
I can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised.
No, I know it's not actually that unreasonable, but
I mean, it's much more expensive in America. Over here, it's like £200 a month.
Yeah.
And
don't worry, I have looked into it.
But the thing is that now there's a global shortage, and people who have got type 2 diabetes can't even get it.
Well, that's not all right, is it?
It's not all right. It's not all right. So, you know, there's so many questions around kind of the body positivity movement. It brings up a lot of stuff around, and this is always a very sensitive subject, and we'll talk about this a bit more because actually I put it out to my followers on Instagram. It's really interesting talking about the whole kind of, could it be glorifying obesity as well? So this is a question, you know, that has gone out there, and
it's out there. You're already there. I can hear the heckles on some of our listeners.
This isn't. This is not what I think.
No, this is
not
just
what I think.
One element of the conversation.
Another element of the conversation, and you know, and then I looked into it. I was like, well, how is obesity looking these days?
Yeah.
Looked into it. Oh, let's look at the figures. Okay, so worldwide, adult obesity has doubled,
but
and
we have to
adolescent
be careful
obesity.
there,
go on,
because what the medical world classes obesity
right, is your BMI index.
Is that,
which
and
was,
it's not.
And did you know that's based on a male? So there's
of course
so many different.
Like all the crash test dummies in cars.
Yeah, because
all male.
Don't crash, and the bodies are exactly the same. So yes, there's nuances to this massively. But what I was really surprised about was the response to a lot of these questions that I got on my social media.
So we talked very briefly about this.
Yeah.
Your expectation was that people would display an element of body confidence or at least body neutrality.
Yeah.
But actually, when it came to asking individual normal, regular, and I say normal, regular in very, very big, wide, loud, bold question marks, what they genuinely thought of their body, their relationship with it wasn't that great.
It made me really sad. It made me really, really sad, actually.
But I don't think you were surprised. I was like absolutely not surprised at all.
Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear the percentages? When it comes to your body image, are you body positive, which means you love and celebrate your body as it is, reject strict appearance standards, or are you body neutral, accept your body for what it can do and recognise that it's okay to feel both positive and negative about your body? That's where I sit.
Yeah.
Body negative, dislike your body and find yourself comparing it to unrealistic societal standards. I really thought, you know, that the body negativity response would be quite low. But actually, it's the biggest response there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I would have said body
50% of people were body negative. 47 were body neutral. And despite this huge body positivity movement, 4% of my followers said that they were body positive.
I think it's really interesting because this is definitely an issue that's, like, I know I like to bang on about the patriarchy, but it stems back to that. Let's be clear. Like, it's about what we should look like.
Yeah.
As women, what is deemed acceptable. And while on a intellectual level, I am body positive, I can love my body for what it is. On a lizard brain, subconscious level, I have been hardwired my entire life to believe that my body should look a certain way. And so as much as I fully support and get behind the body positivity movement and everything that is celebrated and all the changes that are being made, from like mannequins to different models to whatever it is, on a subconscious level, it is not that easy. It's not that simple to override those things that have been hardwired into me. And so I suppose on good days, I can be body neutral. Like on good days, I can go, I'll put a bikini on. I don't feel great about it, but I'm not going to stop myself wearing a bikini. It's fine. Like, I don't really care what other people think. And actually, I don't care what other people think. The feeling is very much what I think. And I don't, and I said to you earlier about getting in the shower, I did realize part of that is probably about not wanting to confront what my body currently looks like compared to what it looked like when I turned 40.
Yeah.
By the way, it was banging.
Was it really?
Oh my God, I worked so hard.
Really?
Yeah, but I worked so hard.
Yeah. And it's not fun, that. If you don't like working out.
It wasn't fun. It was actually really expensive because I needed a personal trainer because I cannot do it on my own.
That's bullshit.
It's
You
alright.
can do it on your own.
No,
You can do it on your own.
Yes, I can do it on my own.
Yeah.
I don't do it on my own. So anyway, so it was great. It looked amazing. But the sad thing about this is that I think somehow along the line, the body positivity movement has managed to pit women against women again. And that bothers me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's the women who embrace body positivity now look down upon the women who aren't there.
Well, that's
kind of letting the side down.
But that's the thing. There's a toxic positivity to it.
I think
well,
there is,
where
yeah.
people are now starting to feel shameful because they don't love their body.
Yeah.
It's just fucked up.
And shameful because they want to lose weight. And I think we'd all love to not want to lose weight.
Right.
I think in an ideal world, we'd all love to not have that on our brains.
Yeah.
All the time. But if you want to lose weight, the amount of time it takes up in my brain,
Yeah.
either because I'm worrying about what I'm eating or I'm making sure I don't eat the bad stuff or I'm thinking about how I can offset what I've eaten by the amount of exercise that I do. Like, it's a lot. It's mental fucking gymnastics.
What I found has really been a massive change for me is the more I start to focus on how I feel rather than how I look, it's changed how I eat and how exercise.
But don't the two correlate for you a little bit?
It's like strong. I prefer strong over skinny.
I prefer strong over
And that's
skinny
it.
as
And
well,
once I've gone and that's it.
But I don't buy it.
Really.
I don't buy it.
Go on.
I mean, I'm only saying for you.
Yeah.
Because I know you and I know me.
Yeah.
I like strong over skinny, but for me, strong still means toned. And
Yeah.
it still means
Yeah.
probably a size 10 or 12.
Yeah, but the thing is that
To me.
yes, true. But then there's not enough discussed about, and I was saying this to you before we went live, that whole kind of mesomorph, endomorph, mesomorph. Johnny told me about this years ago because I used to go like, when I was so like, I hate how much weight I've put on after the kids, and he was like, darling, you have to look at what
The kind of body
your
you are.
skeletal structure is. Ectomorph is your Kate Moss. So, she's got very little fat. A muscle, and it's based on her skeletal makeup.
So the point is then you could have 3 different women or 4 different women, all of those different types, endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph, and they could eat and exercise and move exactly the same way, and they would still all look different.
Exactly that.
And again, on an intellectual level,
Yeah.
I think we all get that.
Do we?
I think we all get
I
that.
don't think it's spoken about.
But on a subconscious level,
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough to say you need to love your body and have that override all that
agreed
brainwashing
Yes,
and damage. I think our generation, honestly, I think we're too far gone.
Yeah.
I think we are too far gone, too brainwashed, too broken, too damaged when it comes to body awareness to ever really be at a point where you go, I fucking love my body, every inch of it, naked, not naked, hairy, not hairy, wearing whatever. I just think and I know it's sad, but I think our generation's too far gone.
Well, I'm scared for the future ones. I've got a 9-year-old turn around to me, and she's definitely like kind of athletic build.
Up and down.
She said and asked me if her thighs were too big. She doesn't have social media. She doesn't have any of that, but it's being spoken about in the playground. They're already talking about it. Where's it coming from? I put this out there. I want to hear what other people think, and I had a huge response. And sorry to everybody who I don't read out. Here's a few.
Okay.
I asked, while we should be challenging society's harmful beauty standards, are we in danger of glorifying obesity by ignoring the health risks associated with carrying excess body weight?
Oh my God, I can't believe you asked that.
I did.
Oh, she's so brave.
And do you know what? I couldn't believe the response. 74% of people said yes.
Yeah.
Did you think that?
Yeah.
Did you? What do you think?
I don't think it's that simple.
There's
I'm not surprised by the answer. I do think there's a shit ton of nuance that fat or thin doesn't even begin to cover.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, actually, how many people who messaged me said, I have a fuller figure, or I've had a gastric band, and I agree with, you know what I mean? So I was really kind of surprised. So do you want me to read some of the responses out?
Yeah.
Okay. So a gazillion % I agree. As a midwife, the growing population of full-figured women is leading to higher risk births, recovery, e.g. rising rate in wound infections, and yet sadly we aren't given longer appointments to discuss it. So it feels we focus on this and nothing else.
Interesting.
All right, here's another one. So I'm going through treatment for breast cancer, and while there are many factors, weight is huge in preventing it coming back in the first place. All the preventative documentation, etc., says do not be overweight to avoid it returning, but we are scared as a society to offend by saying being fat can kill you, but we do say smoking will kill you. It drives me mad. FYI, I'm not overweight and I'm actively trying to get leaner for my health, not looks. I hope this all makes sense. It's a very emotive subject for me, and the body positivity movement drives me mad.
So she's not overweight, but she's trying to get leaner for her health, but she's not overweight. Mm-hmm. So she's not at risk of being unhealthy anyway. And I'm not calling her out because she's wrong anyway, but I think sometimes we don't even realise that we are buying into it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not overweight. I'm trying to get lean for my health. Well, are you? Like,
yeah.
And I'm not criticizing her. I'm trying to get lean because I want to be thin.
Yeah.
I want to be thin because everybody's always told me my entire life that I will be a better human if I'm thin.
Yeah.
I can't override all that shit. I know that it's not right.
Yeah.
But there is a fundamental fucking feeling inside me that is really hard to override. And do you know what? I probably could.
Somebody help us.
I probably fucking could override it. I don't have the time or the energy to spend to put.
It's another
it would
thing.
take so much.
I know, it's another thing.
It's so big. Moving on. It's not about me.
Thank you for talking in such topics. I think I'm a bit of an anomaly. I believe in body positive and I love bodies in many forms, and I think I'm beautiful. However, I don't see in the mirror what photos show me. And that is that I'm huge. I am currently on Manjaro, which is another one of the kind of Ozempics, spending hundreds a month as I've deceived myself into loving my body. Go on, talk to me.
I have body dysmorphia in the wrong way. Like her. Like her. It's the same. I look in the mirror and go, I look amazing. I look so fit. And then people take photos and it's like somewhere between me leaving the mirror and me getting in front of that camera lens, a small hippo took over. And I'm like, or a prop forward. And I'm like, what happened? I was skinny in the mirror.
I feel you 100%.
I have body dysmorphia the wrong way round.
It's when I'm dressed, though. When I'm dressed and all my makeup's and everything on, I'm like, do you know what?
Fit.
I feel good.
And then the photos come back and you're like,
who is that?
What happened?
Who is she? I want to play some voice notes.
Body positivity. I've spent years fluctuating between a size 10 and a size 14. Now I'm only 5'4". And at almost 50 years of age, I've learned to look at the parts of my body that I love and focus on them as opposed to looking at the parts of my body that I don't particularly like. I do agree that the body positivity movement is possibly not encouraging obesity, but I can't even think of words. Like, my dog's barking now, so that's distracting me too, but making it a bit too okay.
Well, I didn't even know there was a body positivity movement. But come with me to a nudist beach. Every shape and size are there, and you will see the beauty in it all. We all have things we would prefer were different on our bodies. But fuck it, I say. We're just mammals after all. The only mammals that wear clothes, I might add. So perhaps it's the invention of clothes that is at fault. Perhaps.
Hi, Emma and Cat. Love that you're talking about this. I feel that I am somewhat triggered by the term glorifying. I do not find any glory in the excess weight I carry from probable PCOS and the fact that I think I'm undiagnosed ADHD and use food as a way of regulating my emotions. I feel like the whole subject has become massively oversimplified. I can't spend the brain power I do when I have 2 neurodivergent children worrying about what I look like. But equally, I try and look after my body as best I can whilst occupying a larger body. I don't agree that it's glorifying anything. I think it's just allowing people to have some peace in the body that they occupy.
I think that's a great thing to end on. You know, we cannot judge anybody for the way they feel or don't feel about their body because so much of it is out of our control. So much of it. I just think it's such a difficult topic that if we find ourselves arguing one or the other, we're already missing all the points.
It basically brings us back to what the podcast is about, which is you're never the only one.
No. Who struggles.
Is struggling there.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate all of those messages that you sent in. Thank you for your voice notes as well. Looking forward to hearing from more of you.
We did take the conversation about body positivity and body confidence out onto the streets, and you went and harassed a few people and asked them about it, didn't you?
I did, and I enjoyed it very much. Here's how it went. What's your name?
Ava. Hi.
Ava.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What does body positivity mean to you?
I think it's just being confident in your body, not feeling any pressure from anyone else to look a certain way or have certain body features or get anything done to kind of match the standards nowadays, the beauty standards.
Absolutely.
Just feeling confident.
Feeling confident. And would you say you're body positive?
I think so. I think it took a long time for me to get here, but now I am very, very confident in who I am.
I love that. What part of your body do you love the most?
What part?
Oh,
I love myself.
you love yourself.
Of course I do.
You wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you go, I love myself.
No, I don't go to the mirror. I go to the shower singing, and definitely I love myself.
What do you sing when you go in the shower?
If I was singing Simon Cowell had already take me. No. Mostly I make some noise. But
Yeah, we'll call it singing.
exactly, that's
It's some
what,
kind of sound.
that's what I do. There is no witnesses.
So you would say you're very body positive. You feel good about yourself.
Yeah, of course I do.
What's the secret? Tell us.
How can I say this?
Okay.
So I believe I've been created by God as a spirit being, and I've been sent to this earth to experience a earthly experience on a physical body. So I look to my body this way.
Yeah.
I look that my spirit has been put inside a magnificent Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I cannot drive it properly. But that's what I see. You
So
understand?
it's a vessel. And you're grateful for the vessel.
It is a vessel for my spirit.
What's your name, please?
Jenny.
Jenny and
Caitlin.
mother and daughter?
Yes.
Lovely to meet you. Let me start with you, Caitlin. What does body positivity mean to you?
It means welcoming who you are, embracing who you are and others.
And what about you, Mum?
I think for me it's being happy in your skin, whether your skin is taking on more of the world or less on the world, depends on how big or small your body is at a time. It doesn't really matter. So it's just being comfortable in who you are, and the external size is not that important.
How much has your opinion on your body changed over time?
I think when I was younger, I was really obsessed with how I looked.
Yeah.
To the degree of not eating the way I should and not being healthy and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think as I've gotten older, you just know you're going to be dynamic, and some days your body's going to be bigger, other days it's going to be smaller. Don't get on the scale's going to lie anyway, so it's
Yeah.
how you feel in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think being able to celebrate having extra weight or less weight or any scars or anything like that is just, that's awesome, right? Because
love
it's
that.
part of you, who you are in your life, rather than just thinking I have to be a certain size to be happy, because knowing whatever size your clothing is,
Yeah.
and it changes depending on which shop you go to, it doesn't make you happy.
Are you on social media at all?
Yes.
And how would you say that has influenced how you see your body?
I think it can have quite a negative impact because a lot of the time you get a feed of people being like, oh, this new thing will make you so skinny and it'll make everything be perfect, which nobody is perfect other than yours to yourself, and that's all that has to be. So I really think that we have to be careful with social media, because there are some people out their way trying to make body positivity be a real thing. There are some people trying to stop it.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful with what we see.
Okay, I found that really, really interesting. I could honestly have talked about body, all of that stuff for the whole time, but unfortunately we have to move on to my topic. Not
No,
unfortunately.
I'm quite pleased. It's quite serious, that one. And
That
I feel
was-
like
this
yours
is-
is going to be
Do you know what? I think it's a little bit of both.
okay.
I asked, you're never the only one who worries that they're not having enough sex.
Okay.
Right. Now, I just want to caveat this. Jimmy's going to be literally furious. I'm going to start this chat off with being really honest and vulnerable, because I'm going to tell you how much sex we've been having.
All right.
You don't have to tell me how much sex you've been having, but, you know, if you really wanted to support the podcast, you would. Anyway, I'm going to give you fair warning. It's not a lot.
Okay.
It's not a lot. So last Saturday, Jimmy and I had sex for on a morning sex.
Ooh.
You say that because you need to fucking shower, isn't it?
It's and to brush teeth and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, right. So we had sex for the first time probably 6 or 7 months.
It's quite a long time.
It's quite a long time. Now, I know that there'll be a lot of people listening who might gasp, might start using terms such
I
as
don't think there'll be that many people.
listening.
No.
That's awkward.
I think a lot of people will be in the same boat. Go on.
So we had sex for the first time about 6, 7 months. Now, I'm not ashamed. I know that lots of people will start thinking of that as maybe like a sexless marriage. But for us, that isn't the case. I mean, I think both of us would love to have more sex.
Right.
But I also think that neither of us have a particularly high sex drive.
Yeah.
Also, we're busy and tired. Now, that isn't to say, though, that there isn't any intimacy between us. And I think that's
interesting.
Important distinction.
Yeah.
There is lots of intimacy between us. It's not like we're flatmates living, it's just that the actual nuts and bolts of it. Nuts.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I made the pun on purpose, to be fair. I did use it. It did.
Sorry.
It's like I saw it happen. The actual nuts and bolts of the penis in the vagina.
Yeah.
Just we don't get round to it that much.
Oh, okay.
And it's not, I do remember talking to Jimmy at one point and saying, listen, I want you to know that if I had the energy and the capacity and the bandwidth, I'd jump your bones right now.
Yeah.
I just don't have it. And he was like, I get it. So I also think sex is a bit like going to the gym. Like, I feel like you never really feel like doing it, but you're always glad when you did. And I think as a woman, I don't think men really understand that in the same way that women do. Because I think that there's a difference between being turned on as a woman and being turned on as a man. So I had this conversation with Jimmy this morning.
Yeah.
It was fascinating. And I said, can I record it? And he said, no. So now I'm going to have to put it into my own words. Well,
more fool him.
More fool him. Should have got it down on the record. But essentially, he was saying, I was reading out a list of all the reasons people had written to me about why they think they're not having as much sex as they want to. And one of them was, my husband thinks that turning a woman on is like flipping a switch in the same way it is for a man.
Yes.
And he said, I don't understand. And my husband's quite an emotionally intelligent, forward-thinking guy. And I was like,
yeah.
I think that sometimes men underestimate all the external surrounding stuff that goes into whether we feel like having sex, whether we are turned on, that men don't really... And I don't think it's a biological thing. I think it's a social thing. I think it's because women for a long time have shouldered the mental load. I think we spend all of our days cleaning up after people, picking things up, putting fucking loose seats down, taking plates off the counter on top of the dishwasher and putting them in the dishwasher. And I think we get to a point where we just don't feel like we want to have sex with somebody if we feel like we're sort of mothering another child.
Okay.
So there's that. I also think there's a misconception that society has sold us. I think that I like to call it the rom-com.
Okay.
Do you like it?
Like it. I like it, but I don't know what it means.
Well, the rom-coms,
yes.
where it's all like this is a perfect relationship, and they put the kids to bed, and then you rip your clothes off, and you have sex on the kitchen counters.
Yes.
And nobody seems to ever do any laundry.
Right.
But and men just know what the woman's thinking.
Yes.
Just turn up at the right time.
Always.
That strong, they're fluent in telepathy.
Yeah, yeah.
And if that's not happening in your relationship, somehow you feel like your relationship isn't valid or good enough.
Okay.
And I think that's bollocks.
Right.
Like, I think a bit like the body myth that we've been sold about what your body should look like. I think we've been sold a similar one about what our marriages should look like and what a good non-platonic relationship should look like.
Yeah.
And I'm calling bullshit on that as well, because I think that we all grew up on those articles that were like, how much sex should you be having? And actually, I think anything that starts with should be having, what should you be doing, I think we have to immediately invalidate, because it has to be so subjective and so personal. People who are happily married and intimate but not having any sex, and people would go, well, that's not a good marriage. Well, if it works for them, it works for them. So what I wanted to do with this discussion was normalize this idea that I don't think everybody is having lots of sex every week. And I put this discussion out on the Instagram. I run a few polls on my stories, and let me tell you, you did not disappoint. And also, I want to say that this is a really positive, comforting set of results. So I asked it was over 6,000 people, 6,500 people who voted. I asked, do you think you have less sex than other couples? So, i.e., are you comparing yourself to what you think you know about other people and coming out wanting? And 72% said yes.
Right.
So 72% of couples, of women, let's be honest, it was mostly women, said, yeah, I think we probably have less sex than other people. Which,
I would have thought it was higher than that.
well, statistically, that means that most of us think we're having less sex, but actually we're not.
Right.
You know, so that's a positive thing.
Okay.
Secondly, I asked, do you worry about your sex life with your partner? Like, not only you're not having it, but do you think that there's something wrong? 64% said yes. Well over half of us are worried about our sex life and that in some way it's not right or healthy or enough, but we're all having these same feelings. And actually, I think, again, this just shows that we are actually probably all having about the right amount of sex.
Okay.
Or about the same amount of sex. Next up, and this was a big one. This one filled my heart with joy. How much sex do you have?
I can't wait for the answer.
22% are having sex at least once a week.
Wow.
So that's not very many.
Wow.
26% are having it 2 to 3 times a month.
Say that again?
22% are having sex at least once a week.
Second one?
26%, 2 to 3 times a month.
30%, 2 to 3 times a month.
So not once a week.
Okay.
16% are having it once a month. And 36% sex less than once a month.
I would have thought that was higher. I thought that would have been much higher.
I think 36% less than once a month. That's over a third.
I would have liked to have known in your and maybe
Hang on,
you
there's more to come. But tell me,
is there more
what was
questions?
it? Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me.
Well, I'd quite like to know. Would you be having less sex if it was down to you?
Right. I didn't ask that exact question, but the next question does
allude to that.
So, actually, no, it's sex. It's a question after that. Next question was, how important do you think sex is in a relationship? And I love the answers to this because it became clear that when we're being honest, we know that sex isn't the most important thing in a relationship.
Right.
But 16% and only 16% said they thought it was central to a good relationship.
Right. Okay.
28% said it was one of the most important things. 50% said there are more important things.
Yeah.
And 6% said it's not important at all. So I think what we're finding is that
interesting.
It's a very average, chilled out vibe we are giving into our sex lives.
Yeah.
But we seem to think that somehow it's not enough, but actually everybody's sort of more or less on the same trajectory. Very few people are having loads of really passionate sex and they think it's the most important thing.
It weirds me out how many people think that. You've said it to me, and even actually the group on the WhatsApp group at Centre Parks, it was being alluded to amongst the parents that me and Johnny were just like banging like rabbits back at our cabin, and like that was the norm. And I don't know what gives that vibe off.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that.
Yeah, I know you do, but what gives that vibe?
At it like a jackhammer.
Yeah, what makes you think that?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Like slutty appearance that you give off. I'm joking.
But it's interesting because I think that puts a lot of pressure on other people. So I'm the first person to go, no, it's hardly ever.
All right,
happening.
so tell me how often you're having sex. Would you have hit once a week?
No.
2 to 3 times a month? Once a month? Less than once a month?
I'd say probably between once and twice a month.
Okay. I mean, I think you're in the minority there. Even if you're not having it all the time, even if you're having it once a month.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
See, now I feel better about that because I would have worried that wasn't enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I think actually the point
And he would have it way more.
I think actually the point of it is
there
are no fucking rules.
That's also sex together. That's not like on my own.
Oh no, that on my own most days.
Pretending.
Listen, I work from home. I'm my own boss. Sometimes I have a nap.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a wank.
I do it to have a nap.
Yes.
You
said it. I remember this. You told me it was the best headache cure ever. Was having an orgasm, and you were right. I've tried it since. It's brilliant.
It's amazing.
Anyway, let me move on. So finally, I asked, if you're not having as much sex as you'd like, why do you think that is?
Okay.
Now, I could only give 4 options in the poll. So initially, 37% said it was their sex drive. 9% said it was their partner's sex drive. Now, we're going to assume that people answering this are women. So essentially, women's sex drive play a larger part in the lack of sex than men's sex drive. I don't think we're walking on any new ground there.
No.
I think that isn't just because we're angry about the mental load, but I think we've got hormones and I probably get out of a month 2, maybe 3 days where I feel really balanced and great.
Yeah.
Where I'm not bloated or
That's all
PMT
about
or
the release of your eggs.
Totally.
That's all that's your
totally
right.
something that men don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
So when I'm bloated and just about to come on my period, mentally, mood-wise, I'm like, I dare you to fucking touch me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's no wonder that our sex drive isn't as high as men's.
But do you not find as well, like one of the things that I've discovered, and I actually started looking into kind of, am I going to have to get some powdered rhino horn for this shit? I was like, what's going on? Like, seriously, I'm looking at my husband going, I fancy the fuck out of you. Like, literally, my head is going, I want to have sex. My body's going, no.
Yeah.
Like, but that's all the time. That's
Yeah.
not any time that given that. I feel that's a massive perimenopause symptom for me, and it makes me really sad because it's like, because I want you to know I love you and I want to be close to you, I want to be fit, and I love having sex and how it just makes us so there's like this cycle.
It's a different connection, right?
different.
Once you've had sex, you're like, you know, you are connected in a way that you aren't.
Yeah.
That can dissipate.
It's such
over
a regroup.
time.
Yeah.
I do think that this, like, the mental load really plays a part. Like, people talk about chore play and they get really angry. They go, well, loading the dishwasher shouldn't warrant a blowjob. I mean, I get it. It shouldn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not that transactional.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, well done, you've loaded the dishwasher, here, have a blowy. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if I, over the month, see you folding the laundry, doing the dishwasher, that I don't have to, and I feel kept in mind and taken care of.
Yeah.
When you do want to have sex with me, I'm more likely to because you haven't spent the month being a cunt.
Yeah. Because it's taken off some of that mental load. You've
but
shared
also
it, so they speed up space to feel sexual and feel like.
And also, it's an act of love. It's a love language.
Right,
It's like
exactly.
you've supported me.
Yeah.
It's acts of service.
Yeah.
I feel loved, therefore you can get your end away. So let's move on. 48% said the main reason they're not having as much sex as they'd like is because they've got young children and they're tired. Unsurprising that's
48%.
48%. And that listed a whole slew of DMs from people who said, don't think that gets better with teenagers are the worst cock blockers. One of them said, my daughter texted us from her bedroom below saying, in the middle of it, saying, please, can you stop? Please, can you stop? So she was like, no, she's like, we were mortified.
Dry up.
Yeah.
It's done.
Shriveled. Everything went.
What's for dinner?
Yeah, done. Nobody's coming back from that. And 6% said that it was down to their or their partner's mental health. But then I gave them an option to say other reasons that might stop. Now, I'm going to rattle through them.
Okay.
Working all the time, boredom, hormones and monthly cycle. I don't like my husband. There was quite a lot of those.
Wow.
Quite sad. Feeling the pressure to do it. Lack of trust, cancer medication in general. Gynecological issues, ADHD demand avoidance. Velcro dogs. I do have one of those. We have to put her outside and she barks. It's not sexy. Other priorities, lack of understanding that being turned on is a switch flipping thing. A snoring husband, that means I have to sleep on the sofa. I'm too resentful. Being touched out, day-to-day resentment, lack of support, seeing him as a third child, not a lover. Just don't think we're into that each other anymore. I'd rather watch maths. I feel you, Married at First Sight. Menopause. Lack of everyday intimacy, postpartum, erectile dysfunction. Obviously, that's not it's their husband's issue.
Yeah.
Feel like we have sex. This was so interesting. I feel like if we have sex, it resets everything to zero and any issues I have don't get met or sorted out. So again, it's this like disconnect that men don't marry emotions and feelings and other shit with sex. Like it's just like, we're just going to have sex. And it's not connected. Whereas for women, it's so cerebral. It's so connected. Lack of emotional connection, lack of kindness, expectation to have sex when he's not been kind with his words, lack of compatibility, hasn't been the same since lockdown, anger, resentment, social media addiction, dry vag, squeaky fucking bed, traumatic birth. So important.
So important.
He's crap, I never come.
Oh. Has he always been crap?
Maybe. Lack of confidence about my own sexual ability, having to mammy my husband, grief, endometriosis. Now, I think men would be shocked when they heard that list.
That's crazy.
About all the myriad of things that play into whether we do or don't want to have sex.
Yeah.
And I hope that if they're listening, it makes them realise that we're not rocket science, but we are quite sensitive.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but it does take a little bit of time and effort and thought. And I think that's what, came out of the whole thing. The reason, and this is a nice way to wrap it up, the reason actually that a lot of women gave for not wanting to have sex was that they didn't like their own body. They weren't comfortable with their own body. So there you are. If you've got anything that you want to say about this week's episode, or if you want us to talk about anything that we haven't yet tackled, then you can email us on you'renevertheonlyone@gmail.com, or you can voice note us on, or text, but voice notes we like, 07457 402 704. If you're watching this, it will be on the screen. If you're listening, that's 07457 402 704. Save the number. Next week's topics. Go.
Okay. I'll keep it very simple. The commercialisation of childhood.
Oh.
I think I'm really, I'm sick of it. I'm really fucking sick of this. And I know it's very much social media, but I was talking about it over the weekend and I was just like, holidays, as a kid, you just used to go along and it was, you do what your parents wanted to do and they just dragged you along and that was it. Your birthday parties, it was really simple. It was a bowl of crisps and it was like a few sweets and some token fruit and, and maybe an entertainer if you were lucky and some games. And it was after school.
Yeah.
And it was small, it was intimate. And now it's balloon garlands and all this light up letters and all this shit. And don't even get me started on Halloween and Christmas.
What are your questions?
Oh, gosh.
You're never the only one.
You're never the only one who wants to go back to the good old days where childhood was simple and cheap.
Perfect. My topic is female friendships, female adult friendships.
Okay.
I want to know, again, I'm talking about these myths that we've been sold, like the body positivity, like the rom-com. I want to know what your version of a good friendship is. What do you think constitutes a good friendship? What makes a good friend? Are you the kind of person who wants to ride or die? No matter what you do, no matter what you say, they are by your side? Or are you the kind of person who wants a friend who will tell you when you've been a twat? Are you the kind of person who needs everybody and needs your friends to respond to all the WhatsApps and all the calls? Or are you the kind of friend who is very aware that sometimes people don't have enough time? Don't know if you can tell which side of that particular argument I fall on. Perhaps was presented in a slightly biased way. But either way, I want to hear your stories. And I'd also love, on the voice note section of it all, I'd love to get examples of when either you fell out with friends over a mismatch in expectations over what a friendship should and shouldn't be. So that's next week. Friendship and cheap childhood.
Of childhood, yeah.
With that, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you. And until next week, we'll see you then.
Ciao for now.
This world is complicated. Everything moves so quick. You're lying to yourself if you think that you got it lit. Everybody knows you're never the only one. You're never the only one. Don't live inside your shame, 'cause everybody makes mistakes. Oh. Don't judge me, I'm a weakness. Don't judge me on my floor. 'Cause no one's really perfect by the grace of God. Go us all. Everybody knows you're never the only one. You're never the only one. Don't live inside your shame, 'cause everybody makes mistakes. Oh, taking the time to make sure everything's okay. Picking up like everyone else each and every day. When you feel there's nothing left for you to spend on you, you're allowed to be happy too.